We've all been there, right? You're just driving along, minding your own business, and bam! That little check engine light pops on, staring at you from the dashboard. Well, today, we're going to tackle one of the most common reasons that light shows up, the P0455 code. Man, that light can give you instant anxiety. Your mind just starts racing. Is this going to be a simple fix or a huge wallet-draining nightmare? Well, if you've got a P0455 code, take a breath. You are in exactly the right place, because we're going to figure out what your car is trying to tell you. So, what is a P0455 officially? It means your car's computer has detected a gross leak in the evaporative emission control system, or EVAP system for short. Now, this system has a really important job. It stops gas fumes from your fuel tank from leaking out into the atmosphere. Gross leak sounds kind of scary, but it really just means it's a large leak, not a small one. Here's a super simple way to think about it. Your car's EVAP system is basically trying to hold its breath to keep all those nasty fumes sealed in. But with a P0455 code, it's like there's a big hole somewhere, and it just can't hold that breath. The car's computer notices this, fails its own little self-test, and flicks on that check engine light to get your attention. So what are you actually going to notice? Well, number one, obviously, is that check engine light. Because of this, you're definitely going to fail an emissions test if you have one coming up. You might also catch a little whiff of gas now and then, but here's the really good news. Usually, this code doesn't cause any major driving problems. Your car is probably going to feel totally normal. Okay, so we know there's a leak somewhere. The big question is, where? Let's start unmasking the most common culprits. And I promise you, the number one cause is probably way simpler than you think. And this right here, this is the key piece of the puzzle. Look at that chart. While a few different things can go wrong, more than half the time, over 50%, the cause is something incredibly simple. Yup, you heard that right. Before you start picturing some complicated, expensive repair, the most common reason for a P0455 code is just a loose, broken, or even missing gas cap. Seriously, it's the very first place you should look, and a lot of the time, it's the last. Of course, it's not always the gas cap. If that's not it, you could be looking at something like a cracked rubber hose, or maybe a purge valve that's stuck open. That's the part that lets those trapped fumes into the engine to get burned off. Other suspects could be a bad vent valve, a cracked charcoal canister, even a faulty sensor. But remember, all of these are way less common than that simple gas cap. So knowing all that, where do you even start? Let's put together a super simple, step-by-step action plan you can literally do right in your driveway. All right, here's your game plan. Step 1, go straight to the gas cap, take it off, check the little rubber seal for any cracks, then screw it back on and tighten it until you hear at least 3 solid clicks. That click is how you know it's sealed. Step 2, just do a quick visual check. Look around the engine bay for any EVAP hoses that look cracked, brittle, or disconnected. And for step 3, if you feel a little more adventurous, you can check the purge valve. When the engine's idling, it should be closed, not sucking in any air. But what happens if you've checked the cap, you've looked around, you don't see anything obvious, and that light is still on? Well, that might be the time to call in a pro. Let's talk about where your DIY diagnosis ends and where the mechanic's work really begins. This little chart breaks it down perfectly. On the left, you've got your DIY checks, messing with the gas cap, giving things a quick look over. On the right, you've got the heavy hitters the pros use, like a fancy scan tool that can actually command the valves to open and close, and the ultimate leak-finding weapon, the EVAP smoke test. This thing is so cool. A mechanic hooks up a machine that gently pumps a special, harmless smoke into the whole EVAP system. Then they just look to see where the smoke comes out. It could be from a tiny pinhole in a hose or a bad valve seal. Wherever the smoke escapes, that's your leak. It completely takes the guesswork out of it. So, look, here's the bottom line. Don't panic when you see a P0455 code. It's almost never a pull-over right now emergency. The absolute key is to start with the simplest, most common, and cheapest fix first. Just check that gas cap. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. You know, back in the day, checking your oil was just basic car ownership. But now, in this age of rolling computers, maybe learning what these basic codes mean, is that becoming the new oil check? Is that the new essential skill every car owner needs? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.